How can I be a freelance software/web developer? There's a lot of ways people do this. And I can share with you my story on how I became one. I was working as a full-time developer for a company, and after a few years of gaining experience there and moving up a little, I noticed many of my co-workers had become contractors for the company. After a few years later, I was there a long time. I was looking for a change, pay increase, or some way to move up the ladder, but I did not find any. I got restless and began looking for opportunities outside of the company, and one came up which was a long-term contract position, paying a lot more than what I earned at my full-time job. I interviewed with them and they were interested in contracting me, but I was still afraid. I was afraid to leave my warm, comfy job, lose the contract, and to not have any job at all. A good friend/co-worker of mine who had become a contractor encouraged me to let go and just jump into it, and I finally did, sort of. I accepted the contract position, but instead of completely walking out on my full-time job, I suggested that I could become a freelancer for them. They had plenty of work and they knew me for years. So they were happy to give me that opportunity and give some work, and for me it was a good fallback in case I needed it. I had 40+ hours to do at my new contract job, and when work came in from my previous full-time job I would do that on nights or weekends. The schedule was insane. And I would work many times through the nights to complete everything. It was great money, and I was careful to not spend it unwisely, because I had that lingering thought that my contractor job could end suddenly, and I might need some money to sustain myself. I recall a very wise comment the boss from my very first job in the field said to us when they lost a big client and the company was in trouble. He said, "We plan for cases like this. The money that we make, we don't spend it, we save it for the downtime." It always stuck with me, and as a youngster I thought that was a brilliant thought. So that's what I did too. Well, a few years passed, and the time came for my contractor job to be over. Once I left, I realized that the skills I had at that time, I used to do fun flash work back then, were dying a slow, painful death. Mobile development was coming in, and Flash on the web was disappearing. The company I was a full-timer on was still around, but their Flash work was also dying. I had to go venture out and find another gig somehow. I could not find any full-time or contract Flash work, and after about 3 months of searching, I decided to learn some new technology. I spent about 5 months in total looking for work, and thankfully, since I saved enough money to hold me down, I was able to focus all my time in learning and planning for my direction. I talked to friends/old co-workers for advice, and got into HTML, JavaScript, CSS and PHP, and eventually I landed another long-term contract. This, oddly enough, was doing Flash, but I had Jedi Master Flash skills, so as they saw my skill they allowed me to take over other parts of their projects doing JavaScript and HTML, even though I was just starting out on those. After a year or so of that, I was still hungry to learn more, and I took advice from my co-workers and got into AngularJS as many projects were coming in for it. Picking up Angular kept me busy at the same company for another 2 years or so, and I was very grateful to have looked ahead enough to put the effort in to learn it. As I was working on this company, I thought I'd fill out my LinkedIn profile. Nothing much, I just wrote something like Flash developer. I was still rooting for Flash. I still kinda do, even thought it's a losing battle. I would have never known, but adding that single title to this day has been of huge benefit to me. I was found by a company through there who were in need of a Flash developer. It was a very high-paying contract and they are still my client to this day, which I now do HTML work for. A total accidental client, just by my idea of what I thought was marketing myself. I did not realize that is not even close to the bare minimum of how you should market yourself, but it worked, huh? Anyway, this takes us to last year now, where again the tech I grew to like and be very good at, AngularJS, was slowly being replaced for better tech, Angular 2+, React, etc. My long-term contract, as with all contracts, came to an end. I jumped on the React and React Native bandwagon and began creating personal projects to learn. I picked up new clients as well as I learned along the way, and some of my existing clients had enough work coming in, the one from LinkedIn and the one that was full-time, to get enough cash in to survive. Last year's workload was a little spotty, but I was able to charge relatively high rates based on my previous experience. I could sell myself well enough to demand the rates, and it kept me afloat until I learned more React. I've done well this year so far, and working with React and React Native, I get offers to bid many times a month. I hope to continue to stay on top of technology and to market myself better. I also have been spreading out more by delegating work to my day crew. I still have a lot to learn, but I think this year will be the best yet. In total, I've been a contractor/freelancer for almost 8 years now. And now I'm not afraid of having slow months anymore. This was kind of a long ramble, but I guess to bring it back to your question. Some options that could convert you to a freelancer. Talk to your current full-time job about converting over to a freelance/contractor position. This can be a gradual way into it. Pick up extra gigs that can get your feet wet, while you do your primary contract work that can generate enough income to survive. Stay up on the latest tech and demands. The more in demand your skills are, the easier it is to get contracts. Save your money. You should always have a percentage of cash that you do not touch and is your fallback money in case you don't have work coming in. Market yourself. This is very important. Clients need to know that you exist, and that you know about the tech you work with. Blog about your work, join open source projects, do some free work as a strategy to build relationships and build your portfolio. If you want to do the online freelancer sites, make sure you are doing 5-star work and nothing below that. And slowly you will get clients coming your way. Good luck.